We need to escape. There is no time. What will we do? The world has ended. We need to go travel back to a previous time so we can fix everything. I just cannot believe this. Yes. The American country destroyed our country. We are the last surviving countries. Before China nukes us, we better go into the time machine. Am I truly the last country in the world? Now the world's a wasteland. The humans from the alternate timeline landed into a different world 14,000 years ago. They discovered there was no people. However, they landed in a continent that is very familiar as well. Yeah. Because of all the time travel, the people lost their memory. Yeah. And all evidence of the time machine was lost. The first civilization begins as well. Welcome to What If. Welcome to What If Civilization Started Over. Instead of starting in the Middle East, they arrived in the Americas. The first civilization is created. This is a New England-esque civilization, and they colonized all of this land. The remaining people were from this part of the world, right here. They were the last countries besides China that was left. However, with no memories and no understanding of this current world, they realized that there are no other people other than the last remaining 1,000 people that escaped through the time machine as well. There are multiple time machines that were sent to various periods, starting the multiverse. Yes, this includes 66 million years ago, the What If civilization started in Asia instead of Europe, and What If civilization started in What If Asia rose instead of Europe, and of course, What If civilization started in Europe. As one of the biggest things that didn't make any sense for some people was the lack of native peoples. And now there was an explanation for the multiverse as well. The first civilization continues to expand into the New England area as well here. They cannot expand outside of the Americas. So, as well here. The first 1,000 humans encounter wildlife that does not exist today. They encounter mammoths, giant sloths, and other animals that are not familiar, that do not exist today, as well. However, in this alternate world, there is no ice age. The ice age ended a bit earlier, causing the humans to expand further north into New England as well. However, however, not that far from now, from this era, a bunch of explorers from Massachusetts actually can use our blue team. We can make this country a blue team. Yeah, and a second country is founded around here. They are the explorers, and they create a new country right here, which is known as the Red Team, as well here. The Red Team finds these lakes, and realizes how they could be used for travel much easier. Yeah, yeah. This creates the Great Lakes civilization as well. And basically, the Red Team continues to expand its borders as well here. Here. The first thousands of years pass, and the first civilizations are created. A third green civilization is created as well here. Yeah. Here. They will colonize this area right here, and they are the green team as well. We tried to do a similar series called Alternate History of the World, but that had named countries as well. I think we should do one with unnamed countries. I think we should restart that series over because it makes it harder because we might not remember the countries' names. The History of Planet Gigantus actually have a log in on my phone and my tablet, which is connected to a cloud. So that series will continue because I have a log for every nation that has existed in Planet Gigantus history as well. So the green team will continue to expand their borders very early on as well here. Here. All three civilizations have not met, and they will meet for the first time around 10,000 years ago, which is when the megafauna died out in real life. However, these people are more environmentally conscious, so they don't go extinct in this timeline as well here. Here. The exploration of this area continues as well here, and a fourth civilization, which will be a orange team, will be founded alongside this lake here, and they will be a very big civilization. They will be a pretty powerful civilization as well here. The human population has grown past 100,000 people, I think, as of now, and they have grown past 100,000 people throughout 4 civilizations. This isn't the first civilization series. This is the first civilization series that we have done, focusing on the Americas as well. But this will be, a much different series than the Cretaceous series, which we haven't done an episode of that one in a long time as well here. But yeah, this country continues to expand as well here. However, the first war will begin, and that is because of a war dispute between the red and the orange team. The red team claims that this little area belongs to them, and the orange team should focus over here because they don't agree on the border as well here. They don't agree on the land usage as well here. So the green and the orange team will fight as well here. The orange team is being pushed out very, very quickly as well here. And the orange team doesn't really have a very strong military compared to the red team. So the orange team gets pushed out very, very quickly as well here. And the land deal is something like this. Here. And basically, as well here. They will expand and take this line, which is ironically because they forgot about what happened, which war led to the decline of humanity. It really shows that war is a part of human nature, and it's gonna be a very hard thing to get rid of it as well. Yeah. The green team will send some people down here, but they can't really go further down here as the ships are pretty weak. So the green team will there'll be a new civilization in Florida, which is the yellow team. The yellow team will exist in Florida and Georgia and South Carolina as well here, and they will become a decent power here, but they kind of are isolated from the rest of the countries further up north in the much more colder regions as well here. However, the yellow team realizes that it's much easier to grow the crops that they do remember they had, and the livestock they remember they had as well here. So basically, this country will start to become a much more better thriving country than these northern countries, and even this country right here. Their economy is mostly focused on agriculture, which early on in human history, agriculture was one of the big things. There wasn't really manufacturing or industry as well here, and winter isn't there to really slow them down. They don't really expand to Florida because Florida is a swamp as well here, but they do live on the Florida coast as well here, as the Florida coast is still pretty useful for fishing as well as, trade, as a trade hub as well here. The orange team will continue to expand its expansion into maritime Canada as well here, and basically they will expand into maritime Canada as well basically here, and they will take over all of this land here. They'll also expand and create many trading hubs around here, and officially the population of this world passes 1 million. The country with the most population is the blue team, who are around 440,000 people. This country of around 300,000 people. This country of around 150,000 people total. And this country of around 200,000 people total. And this country of around 60,000 people total. So the population of these countries are still very sparse. There are some cities as well here, which will be using a darker yellow for this as well here. So the first major, we will not be using that dark of yellow. The major cities, we'll use black for major cities because we're not going to, wait. They usually use yellow. We'll use a very light yellow. Major cities will be created here. Several major cities have popped up alongside the coastlines and of important population centers as well here. These are kind of the foundations for major cities as well here. That's also going to be one. Yeah, but yeah, the major cities are starting to be created as well here. Yeah, and basically the leaders of these civilizations have basically started to expand as well here. So there's of course part 1 of this series. There's going to be many more parts as well here as well, but the multiverse continues on growing. There are some parts of there are some series that we have stopped doing, which is unfortunate, but I have kind of forgotten like the war or the part of the series. So yeah, I might revisit some old concepts in the future, but yep, there we go about this video here. Goodbye.